How's it going, everyone? I'm Frank of Mirth Films, and today we are talking about the Canon EF 70-200 f2.8 version 1. So I'm very excited to talk about this lens for a couple of reasons. One being that a subscriber actually requested this video, so shout out to you. And number two, I use this lens all the time when I'm shooting concert photography. It is a go-to and a must-have, especially if you're shooting in large rooms, events, etc. There is no denying that this lens is old. It is in fact the first version of the Canon EF 70-200 f2.8, but for that reason you can actually get it for a fairly decent price. New, you can get it for $1349, and used you can get it for $700 to $1,000. I actually got my lens on eBay for about $750, and it was in fairly great condition. And just to go over some specs, the Canon EF 70-200 f2.8 does have an f2.8 constant aperture. The lens comes in at 1,570 grams and is about 8 inches long. It also has a 77mm filter thread. When it comes to the build quality of the lens, it is built like a tank. It really feels nice and sturdy. It is metal on the outside, so that is nice to know that this is going to have good weather sealing. I can use this in the rain and not sweat it. And it also, something I really like about this is it does zoom internally. So as you notice maybe on the 75-300 EF lens, the lens actually extends when you zoom, but this stays all within the lens itself, which is nice. So now we're gonna check out some photos that I was able to capture while using the Canon EF 70-200 f2.8 version 1. This first photo was actually taken with a Sony a7R IV, and look how tack sharp it is. I mean, this color renderation, love the Canon 70-200 f2.8 with this combination, and look at the background blur, and also how sharp his eye is. I mean, this can just show that this 2001 lens is actually performing amazing. This next photo is of the band Glass Pony, and the reason why I wanted to show this picture is because I just wanted to show what can happen when you compress that background. I took this photo at 140mm, stepped all the way back to allow for a shot that almost looks like it was taken with a prime lens. This next photo I wanted to show because I took this photo in a low light situation on a 61 megapixel camera, the Sony a7R IV, and just look how clean it is. I mean, with that f2.8, it really allows for a lot of light to come in. As always, we do have to talk about the pros and cons when it comes to this lens, and first off, I really like that this lens does have an f2.8 constant aperture. That's really important, especially in professional photography. You can blow out that background, you can use it in low light. Depending on which camera you're using, it's going to perform amazing in low light. The second thing I really like about this lens is the price point. I mean, the fact that you can get this between $700 and $1,000 used is amazing. You're getting professional results at a cheaper price. I mean, that is kind of hard to come by these days, especially when a lot of the newer 70-200s, the version 2, the version 3, and even the mirrorless version all range between $1,500 to like $3,000. I mean, you're going broke. And I mean, if you already just bought a full frame body and only have so much left for the lens itself, then you got to give this a look, because even if you're using mirrorless, again, I've used this on a Sony a7 IV and it's proven to work time and time again. The next pro that I have to talk about is that it is built amazingly. I mean, whether you're outside in nature, it's raining, or you're inside a concert with thousands of people, you know that this lens is going to be able to hold up well. Now, I don't have a lot of negative talking points when it comes to this lens, but the one thing that I do have to point out is that this lens does not have image stabilization, which is something that is very important in 2023. And if you are shooting a full frame DSLR, none of them have built-in image stabilization in those cameras. Only the mirrorless cameras do, and not even all of the mirrorless cameras do. So keep that in mind. If that's something you know you're going to want, then seriously consider the second version of this lens, because that does have it, and every lens from there on also has it in the 2.8 line. But when I am shooting this on the Canon 5D Mark III or the Canon EOS R, I have to be more thoughtful about the things that I'm doing while I'm shooting, and really checking my shutter speed, because if you're shooting at 1/100th, 1/125th, and you're shooting a long distance, there's a real good chance that you might not have the sharpest shots. Lastly, this lens is on the older side, built in 2001. I mean, mean, it's 22 years old. So, you know, when you're buying this, just know that when you plan on selling it in the future, you're probably not going to get the highest resale value, if that matters to you. And also, as time moves on, you know, they have made different versions. So you're going to expect upgrades in both of those versions, all different. But if that is not an issue for you, then the Canon 70-200 f2.8 version 1 is something that I definitely have to recommend. Again, I use it professionally myself. Concerts, weddings, events, whatever you can think of, nature, if you're trying to go telephoto side, this lens is a great option and you should highly consider it. My name is Frank of Mirth Films, and thank you so much for watching today's video.